And I do realize that I've come along throughout this series gushing about Ocarina of Time. I want you to know it's not just some game that it's the best game ever, you know, like I don't want to come across as just being that hyperbolic guy, like every week some new game comes out that's the best game ever. You can't know that. You can't know it. All of you Undertale fans out there, Undertale's not the best game ever. How can you know that? The game's only been out for a couple of years. That game's only, what, 2 years, maybe 3? I think it's 3 years old at this point. But you can't know 3 years on. I'm not saying it's a bad game or you didn't enjoy it. I'm just saying, how can you know after only 3 years that it's the best game ever? Let alone people who make those arguments before a game even comes out. Oh man, the new I guess God of War is out now, but it wasn't a week ago. when I was reading on the Twitter, best game ever. It's not out yet. How do you even know? In 1998, if you would ask me what's the best game ever, I would have told you Ocarina of Time, because I was a dumb kid. I was a teenager. I didn't think critically about things a lot of the ways I do now, and I didn't have a lot of the wisdom that I've gained. And if you're young, if you're a teenager, or if you're in your early 20s or whatever, I'm sorry, but it's true. In some ways, with age comes wisdom, and my curse is that pretty much the extent of my wisdom involves knowing what video games I like. I haven't figured out anything in this crazy world that we share beyond that. But I feel fortunate to have figured that out. You do get wiser with age. Not necessarily smarter, but wiser. Your life experience teaches you things about the world. And it's with that perspective, like 20 years on, that I can look back and say, yeah, Ocarina of Time is one of the best games I've ever played. It's not coming from a place of hyperbole. It's not coming from a place of fanboyism. My goodness, if anybody has me confused for a Nintendo fanboy, you have not been paying attention to my streams as of late. I am nothing but critical about Nintendo. And Zelda, surely, even in this series, have I said anything nice about any Zelda game other than Ocarina? No, not even a little bit. What do you want from me, game? Oh, this guy's gotta die. We've got 2 minutes to die. So it's really not coming from a place of hyperbole. It's not coming from a place of, oh, I played this game last week that I kind of liked, so I'm going to go on the internet and tell everybody it's the best game ever. I'm telling you this game is the best game ever because 20 years ago, I fell in love with it, and I played it to death, and then I played a lot of games that tried to be like it, that had its name in the title, that were sequels, that took lessons from it. I played a lot of other games outside of the series that took lessons from it. Pretty much every 3D action-adventure game ever owes a great debt to Ocarina of Time. I played good games and bad games, big games, little games, rich games, poor games, you know, 1 game, 2 game, red fish, blue game. And 20 years later, I played it again in front of a live audience on twitch.tv, and I was still in love with it, every inch of it. Oh, I forgot about you. And I forgot about Dre. Too bad. I should not be making rap references in my... I can't back them up, is the problem. You know, I don't know anything about rap. I really should not be making any kind... I don't know who Dre is. I could not even tell you who Dre is. If you put a gun to my head, I could not tell you. In any event, what we're about to see here is one of the most magical moments in Ocarina of Time. I'm not talking about the crumbling tower. You give them a break. They were doing it on the N64 graphics. They didn't have a whole lot to work with there. The tower crumbling. Like, it's kind of vomit boulders out of the door here in a minute. It looks very just fake and underwhelming. We're going to get past this, but the reveal of the final boss. As a kid, I thought escaping I thought that was going to be it. I probably very narrowly won that Ganondorf fight, using up all my fairies and potions and everything. Probably dying a couple times, you know. And the escape sequence I thought was probably it. The reveal of the final boss, I very clearly remember. I was so stressed out about it when the final boss was on screen. I had to pause the game, take some deep breaths, walk away from it for a minute, and come back. It might have been as much as like half an hour later, like mentally preparing myself for what comes next. And then I probably died a few times against this last boss, but... Alright, Zelda. See you when we get there. Because, I mean, yeah, there's this friggin' guy with glowy eyes now. He's very upset that we brought his whole castle down on top of him. Not happy about that at all. And then this. Yeah, you remember how every boss up to this point had a cute little, like, Wile E. Coyote style, like, genre, genus and species? No, just Ganon, okay? No definition, no classification, friggin' Ganon, okay? So let's get that clear right off the bat. So we're going to... Well, first of all, we don't have the Master Sword. We got the Biggoron Sword. I think if you don't have the Biggoron Sword, you might have to use the hammer here. So we're not going to try to jump slash because it's just very awkward trying to get all up on his butt back here. I said that, then I immediately hit him with a jump slash. And I don't think you need to hit him with the light arrows here. I think it just stuns him, so it makes it easier for you to get behind him. I think you can actually just go between his legs here. Can I just fight my way through your crotch? No? Alright. Alright, we'll do this the correct way then. There we go. Oh, maybe that's what I'm gonna do. I'll wait till he swipes me. We'll get around him. Get his air, and then jump slash from the side, maybe. Oh, nope, that didn't work. There we go. Okay, so now he's gonna fall to the ground. I do remember playing this game once, and for some reason the camera did something tricky when it revealed the Master Sword, and I ran to the wrong side of the map. By the time I turned around and came back, it was too late. Ganon had gotten back up, and I had to fight him down again. But yeah, I do remember fighting Ganon with the hammer. Maybe that's not the smart way to do it, but... Oh, there it is. I don't have to hit him in the tail. I can just hit him in the head with the arrows. That's right. Okay. And then you can jump slash when you come around the corner. Although you do have to be careful because he can block arrows with his swords. And now I'm out of magic. So I gotta get him to break one of these. One of these towers will have magic in it. Again, I got fairies. I'm not really worried about dying here. This one? Yeah. So we're gonna eat a fairy. Trying to get as much magic. Okay, got half bar magic. That should be enough, right? That should be good. Brickroad, just buy a potion. You don't have to worry about this. Potion is a crutch. used by the morally bankrupts. And now, Ganon. Oh, Zelda's doing her part. She's getting with the sunbeam over there. Nope, never mind. She's tired now. She's cashed. One other alteration they made in this game, and I think they made it as early as the first reissue of the N64 cartridge, is originally in the cartridge that I had, that I bought on launch day, Ganon's blood was red. As you hacked his face apart there, some splashes of red out. Apparently somebody's mom got upset and wrote a letter. Dear Nintendo, now my little Jimmy, age 17, knows what color blood is. Sincerely, Nosy Betty Bertha, Albuquerque, New Hampshire. So, whatever, she wrote a letter, and they changed his blood to green. So I guess he's filled with just snot, right? Like he's sneezing himself to death? I don't know. But it is one change they made. And I think that change got made as early as the first reissue of cartridges. Because when the game first came out, it was a big deal. Because the original Legend of Zelda and The Adventure of Link came out on gold cartridges. This was way back in the day when you didn't play games on discs or download them. You bought them on these plastic boxes that had computer chips that plugged into the computer chip inside of your Nintendo machine. And The Legend of Zelda and The Adventure of Link were gold. And then to kind of harken back to that, the original Ocarina of Time cartridges were also gold. Link to the Past never had a gold cartridge, and I don't think Link's Awakening did either. Link's Awakening DX might have. They did a remake of Link's Awakening called Link's Awakening DX for the Game Boy Color. That might have had a gold cartridge, but I can't really recall. But yeah, when those were the first run of the game, and when they reissued for the next run of the game, they were in gray cartridges, and those had a couple of gameplay changes, like the ones that I outlined. And I'm going to try to get this right, but I want to make very clear that I don't care. And that if you do care, I think you have some introspection to do. But I'm going to try to get this right. At this point in time, Ocarina of Time splits into 3 different timelines. One is the kid timeline, which happens because she's going to say, give me back the Ocarina, this is going to undo the timeline or whatever, you're going to go back to being a kid. That's one timeline. That goes off to Majora's Mask. The second timeline is the adult timeline. What happens to this version of Hyrule going off into the future after I leave it and go back. And that goes off to Twilight Princess. And then there's a third timeline, which is this same timeline, but Hero Link never appears or fails or something. And that timeline goes off to Wind Waker. I'm about 70% confident that's how it works. But again, I don't care. Please don't correct me. Please don't think too hard about Zelda timelines. These games were never intended to have a canonical timeline. The only reason they do is because after years and years and years and years of fanatical fanboys wearing them down, Nintendo finally threw them a bone and said, yeah, this is it. Some guy spent 10 minutes putting it together and said, that's what you want. Never mind the careful world building we've done to give the whole series a sense of like uncertain mythology to it, to make it really feel like a legend that can be told in several different ways with different implications by different cultures. No, it's a definite timeline. Everything has to be categorized and notated on the wiki with citations. At the same time that I'm recording these Ocarina of Time videos on stream, I've been playing through the Suikoden series, which very pointedly doesn't do the timeline thing that I just mentioned. Like, that series is very clear about its uncertain world building. So it's been on my mind a lot. I just thought I'd take a jab at the Zelda timeline purists out there. And again, I'm sorry, but you're such an easy target. What a beautiful game this is. What an absolutely wonderful and cherished game this is. For some reason, it's very important to me that everybody watching right now, most of you are my regular fans. Most of you watch most of, if not all of my content. And it's very important that you know that my love of this game doesn't come from an insincere place. It comes from somewhere very deep. It's how I open this series. How many games are on that list that really are part of your core being? My dad, growing up, had a big record collection. So by the time I came along, we had a turntable in the house back in the mid-'80s, and I wasn't allowed to touch them. If I touched the record collection, I got my ass whooped. So I didn't play the records. But he had hundreds. I mean, it's a legendary record collection. I don't know how much of it he still has, actually. But I came to find out over the years, like as a kid, I thought, oh, that's all the music my dad listens to. He listens to 400 records that he has. But growing up, I came to find out, and talking to my dad as an adult, that really only a very small subset of that music was really a part of him, you know? There was some records that, and I couldn't name one. That's not true. I mean, he had, the Beatles' Abbey Road was one of them. I want to say, I can remember the very distinctive Boston album art, but I'm not sure if that was one of them. But anyway, I realized as a young adult, oh, like, he had maybe 10 of those albums that were really special to him, that were really, really part of who he is. And the rest was just music he liked. The rest of it he just bought and had it on the shelf. And a lot of those, maybe he only listened to them once. And I look at my collection of video games now, just in front of me, I can see 400 games here. I've got DS, 3DS, I've got PSP, I've got GameCube, I've got PS2, I've got Wii and Wii U, PS3 and 4, Xbox 360, Xbox One. Underneath that, I've got PS1, Super Nintendo. I've got like 2 Sega Genesis games for some reason. All the Game Boy games and stuff are in a drawer out of sight, and that's not even counting the Steam library. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of games, but that's just my collection. It's not what I play, you know? How many games are on that list? It's gotta be 5 or less. Super Metroid, Final Fantasy, maybe Final Fantasy IV, I guess you could put on there. Ocarina of Time. It really is that small of a list of games that really are a part of me. And I hope everybody has that list. I hope you've got your own little list. I hope you had an experience like I had when you were 16 years old and a game came out that was so good and so special to you and was such a bright light that you savored every inch of it. I hope you had that game. Maybe you haven't. Maybe you're too young. Maybe you're watching this. Maybe you're still in elementary school. Maybe you're 10, 11 years old. Maybe you're still figuring it out. Maybe you don't even know how much you like video games. Maybe you think maybe it's a phase and you'll grow out of it. Maybe you've never played a game except on like an iPad or a smartphone or something. But I hope if you play a lot of games, you can look back and see that one. And this was mine, and I finally had a chance to share it with you guys on my channel, and I could not be more delighted to have finally had this experience with you. I could have done it a lot sooner if I wanted to play it on emulator or on the GameCube, but I really wanted to do this version of the game. It looks nicer. It's got nicer graphics, has some of the gameplay changes. If you have a 3DS and you don't own this game, I cannot recommend it highly enough. Highly enough. Oh my god, I've been awake for 17 hours at this point. I hope you've enjoyed Let's Play Ocarina of Time. If you're a fan of this game, I hope you were able to come along with me on my journey and enjoy it. If you're a fan of one of the other Zelda games, I hope I was able to at least impart the contrasts, why this is my preferred Zelda, and I hope someday Nintendo gets back to this style. I hope we get to... How lucky would I be if at 46 years old I have another experience like that, like I did when I was 16? Is that in the cards, do you think? Is that something that happens? Thanks for watching, guys. Shoutouts to Thinneran for sponsoring this video, and to everybody who helps make my channel possible by supporting me on Patreon.